When disaster strikes, infrastructure is fractured, emergency services are put under stress, and people become disconnected from essential services. Project Help Me Help aims to solve these critical issues by providing a new mobile application for your smartphone that can help you and others. Simply take a photo of a hazard by category, and Help Me Help will upload it to our cloud server. This enables other users to avoid dangers and helps officials respond to problems in your area. Be prepared. Download Help Me Help today.
My name is Keaton Summers, and I worked on the Azure Mobile Services and the Windows Phone application.
My name is Mike Purvis, and I worked on the administrative website.
My name is Ryder Donahue, and I worked on the administrative website and the Windows Phone application.
I'm Wallace Hamada, and I've worked on the Windows Phone application.
So, we're using a lot of Microsoft technologies in our project. For example, we're using a lot of Azure services. We're using Azure's web hosting, their blob storage, their SQL services, and their mobile services. We're also using Bing Maps and Windows Phone 8, obviously, for our mobile application side.
So this idea grew out of a software engineering project for our senior year capstone when we were dealing with native and invasive species, and we realized tracking that kind of information could be applied to a larger scale with more impact. So we decided to rewrite our entire idea for disaster response.
So we've only actually been working on this project for a little over a week, and we've completely re-engineered an entire framework for this new idea, but it's coming along quite well. Obviously, we're finished with it now. So we thought a lot about how we're going to monetize this project because our app is actually distributed for free. So what we're going to do is we're going to provide a premium coverage plan for communities that local civil defense jurisdictions can purchase, or hopefully someday things like FEMA. But for now, we're looking at smaller communities like our local county of Hawaii. Actually, we have some interest in our application. But what we're planning to provide is a premium services package where these smaller communities can buy a region on our map, and they can manage the data that's coming in from users. So they get access to our managerial site to only a certain location in it, but they can now manage the data that's being brought in from the smartphone application, and they can send out their responders to these applications. They can say, oh, there's a lot of fires down this road, or oh, this causeway is blocked. We need to reroute our emergency services down this direction. One nice thing about the application is that it kind of advertises for itself in both cases. The free users, when they use the application, they'll see the app and it'll say, oh, it's free to use, but you're not in a covered location. And they'll go, wait, why am I not covered? So they're going to write to their legislators and go, we want this coverage. And once the app is paid for, these communities that pay for the app go, well, now we paid for the app. Can everyone please use it since we put all this money into it? And we've already talked to a local civil defense representative, and he said that they were very interested in the application. They've had ideas in the past that were similar to it that weren't even as big of a scale as ours. So they said they're definitely interested in picking it up. So one of the problems with using crowdsourced data that's publicly contributed to is you can't necessarily trust all of the sources. How we're combating that issue is we have verified user status in the application. So local districts can hand out verified user accounts to their firefighters and police personnel, and when they make submissions to our database, those are flagged as verified users, and they show up with a lot more priority, and emergency responders can look at them with the context in mind that they're taken by a professional. So one of the great things about our application is that it actually allows users to empower themselves to help themselves in natural disaster. It doesn't necessarily require government intervention for people to be able to gain useful information out of the application. So anybody can open the app and be like, oh, I can see within a 5-mile radius where all the fires are, what routes are down.
During disaster, people are often panicked, and they might not be able to describe very well over the phone the exact details of the situation. Virtually everyone has a smartphone these days, so that's really why we want to tap into the camera for this purpose.
This is the Help Me Help mobile application. When a user first opens the app, they're presented with the reports pivot and the hazard sub-pivot. When they see a hazard, they can click on it, take a picture of it, they can optionally provide a comment. Oops. Upload to the server. This will allow other users to see the update that there's a fire nearby. Next is the warning subpivot. So currently there aren't any warnings in our area, but if there were, we could refresh this and see the warnings. This would provide weather updates, basically, like tornadoes and stuff like that. Next we have the maps pivot. There are 4 application bar icons on the bottom: visibility, user's location, hazards nearby, and the legend. If we click the hazards nearby, we'll be updated with the hazards taken at this location. Obviously this isn't real data, but if we take a look at the legend, there are a lot of others and floodings nearby, and obviously it's not the case, but we can. The legend will show the types of hazards that are capable of being shown when it was uploaded. Next we can toggle visibility, and we can jump back to the user's location. So we could do something like this and go right back to where the user is. So our next pivot is call 911. So this is going to vary based on your location and what kind of emergency services you have, but since we're in the United States, we have 911 and that's what it's set to. This will bring up a dialer task and you'll be able to call 911. And that's a simple walkthrough of the Help Me Help mobile application.
The Help Me Help website is a tool that manages the various entries in the cloud. As this page controls settings and attributes of user-generated content, we require a login. An introduction to the console is available upon login, but we'll skip it here. In the right-hand panel, we see a series of checkboxes. These help filter the markers shown on the map. Each hazard type is easily recognizable with custom icons. When we inspect an entry, we see details about that submission. In this case, we see a civilian uploaded this image. We can mark this entry as viewed, and to remove it, we can also archive it. Check out the advanced options as well for heat map and map size. In order to share the information contained in this database, you may also download the data as a CSV file.
In terms of the website, one concern we wanted to address was the sheer amount of submissions. We wanted to give the ability to website managers to limit the number of entries viewed. Also, following Microsoft's design philosophy of content over Chrome, we decided to add a timeline feature that demonstrates simple analytics of the submissions. For the websites submitted to the World Competition, markers will be shown according to the scenarios selected in the upper left-hand list of choices. There have been some recent updates to Project Help Me Help since the US Imagine Cup submission. We showcased our site to the Senior IT Manager at the Hawaii Police Department. He expressed interest in implementing a crime mapping tool for the department. When he saw our site, he invited us to meet with the Director of Hawaii County Civil Defense. We've also attended a recent webinar hosted by the Small Business Administration with Agility Recovery Solutions for a session called Social Media and Disaster Recovery. Here we gained insightful tips and contacts for the future of this project. The Mauna Kea Watershed Alliance has also reached out after hearing about our work for the Office of Mauna Kea Management, and we're excited to explore this avenue as well. Doors seem to be opening due to our efforts in putting the idea out there, as well as some serendipitous run-ins. We're excited to have options for low-risk implementations that will serve to gain traction, as well as to begin our live user testing.